Heroes at Home. We're sharing stories of area residents who are doing great things, from firefighters to fundraisers, veterans to volunteers. Heroes at Home is brought to you by the comfort people at Terrell E. Mosley, specializing in heating, cooling, and maintaining the air quality of your home or business. Online at terrellemosley.com. Hear more from our Heroes at Home by visiting WLNI.com.
And joining us now for this segment, Officer Ray Shelton, Captain Adam Sexton from the Lynchburg Police Department. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome. I've got everybody's name right. A little confusion here as we came in, but I think we are good to go. Let me move this so I can see everybody. All right, there we go. So, Officer Shelton, you were the Officer of the Month for December, although not announced until at least I didn't see it until a few days ago. So tell us, just give us a little thumbnail sketch of this case and that we're going to be talking about that led to your being the Officer of the Month.
Yes, sir. So I just received some information from a hotel management of something that she kind of thought looked a little bit sketchy, honestly. She sent me the footage. It ended up being like a drug transaction going on in their hotel. So we've tried to further the investigation, and it turned out with a couple of drug arrests and then somebody that was wanted by the federal government. So,
and we should notice here, note here that this is an ongoing case, and so that's going to limit some of what we can say. You're not going to get names of people or anything like that. And so, did this person just came to you sort of out of the blue?
So we've kind of had like an ongoing relationship, which is something we try to do with business owners throughout the city, just build relationships, and hopefully that helps us forward all of our police work that we do. So her and I have probably known each other for the last 2 years. She reaches out to me probably once a week or so.
Oh, okay. And I mean, is this part of, say, community policing, trying maybe to maybe be a little bit more proactive than reactive?
It is, yes, sir. So that's kind of been our approach, at least since I've been a police officer, is community policing. Like I said, just foster relationships with business owners, with citizens throughout the community, and try to get their help with forward in all of our cases. And
I want to read the commendation, I guess, from the Lynchburg Police Department on social media. Strong community relationships and sharp investigative work led Officer Shelton to a major narcotics case. His efforts resulted, you've been downplaying it. His efforts resulted in the seizure of methamphetamine and other narcotics, along with execution of outstanding federal warrants in coordination with federal law enforcement. This case started with a tip from a local business owner, many of whom trust Officer Shelton. And then it goes on to talk about how you cracked the case, if you will. But you talk about that trust within the community and how important that is to build. And Captain Sexton, you can weigh in here as well. How do you do that? Do you just drop in and say hi? Or, how is that trust built, would you say?
Yeah, for me, that's what it's been. Just dropping into businesses and introducing myself and just being a person, honestly. Like, I go to businesses, I meet people, I introduce myself as Ray, and just talk about whatever they've got going on.
And then they feel like they, in turn, can call you when something is, like you said, she thought something was a little sketchy.
Yeah.
On that, I'm going to take it that you're a uniformed officer.
Yes,
Do you
sir.
find that it might take a couple of times interacting with someone before, the uniform is kind of, maybe they don't pay as much attention to it and you're just another person kind of thing?
Yeah, sometimes for sure. Like it's definitely something it's like an ongoing effort. Like you don't just stop in once and introduce yourself
Right.
and then you never stop by again. You got to stop in, check on your people.
Well, and Captain Sexton, let me ask you on this, going back to community policing, just give us kind of the thumbnail sketch of exactly what we mean when we say that and how exactly is it done with Lynchburg Police?
So I think to echo what Ray was saying, and he is being very humble in the efforts that he takes. Like he's a massive informal leader on his platoon. I don't think it's any secret the age of experience that we have with the police department. We have a lot of younger guys, and he takes and mentors them. But something like this doesn't happen overnight, right? Like this is relationships that have been built over time, and we're always looking for ways to partner with our community to identify problems, to identify where we can allocate our resources. And this is just a prime example from Ray, one of many examples from Ray that he's done over the last several years. One, to partner with community members. things are brought to our attention, but it's that trust that fundamentally we look for with our officers and members of our community.
And I know you can't reveal too many details about the case since it's still pending, but when she alerted you to her suspicions, what did you do then? Like, what's your next step if you suspect that there's some drug dealing going on or manufacturing?
So with that case, like, it was just a team effort. So our Special Investigations Division got involved, our K-9 teams got involved, and kind of surveilled what was going on there, and then went from there.
And at what point then do you say, oh, wait a minute, we need to have the federal law enforcement come in?
So their part of it was honestly just they had the warrants, and the federal marshals had been looking for one of the suspects in the case. And I guess that, like, our information desk officers, like, we had to reach out to them to make sure it was still an active warrant that we could serve on her.
How long does it take to put a case like this together from, say, the time you get the first tip to when you've been able to adequately surveil and put the case together?
For this particular case, it kind of moved quickly. I think I received the first phone call and text message from the business's management on like a Wednesday, and I think probably by Friday we were moving on the hotel.
I mean, are there certain, whether it's businesses or just places, a hotel, a park, whatever it might be, where you figure there's more likelihood that there's some kind of illegal activity going on? Do you keep an extra eye on certain places, that sort of thing?
Captain Sexton can probably touch on a little bit more, but with our stratified policing efforts and like what that looks like.
So we, across the department, we use our stratified policing model to use an intelligence-led policing model to say, hey, this is where we're seeing problems, this is where we're seeing calls for service. But we also elicit community feedback as well, because we want to know, like, firsthand, what are some of the problems you're seeing, what are some of the problems you're facing, because the one thing in common that we have with the community is that we want that community to be safe. Well, they want their neighborhood to be safe just as much. And so they can reach out and partner with us, and like with Ray, the situation we have there, and like this major case that he has, I mean, Ray is an informal leader on his platoon, but he's also a beat cop, right? He goes, works beat, and he takes ownership of that beat and meets business owners, community members within that beat, gets information from the community, and then, as he pointed out, working with our intelligence unit, working with our Special Investigation Division, with our K-9, it's a really collaborative effort from the department overall to work to solve these problems.
Now, when you say on the beat, is he like out walking down the street swinging the billy club or something like that, like what you would see from like old TV shows and stuff?
No, not quite.
He has no idea what you're talking about. Ray, how long have you been, Officer Shelton, how long have you been a Lynchburg police officer?
Since 2018. I started in January 2018.
He just, you know what I'm going to say. He looks so young.
Well, see, that's we
the
are
older
old.
we get,
And so
I
that happens to
know.
us.
The older we get, the younger. But anyway, well, thank you for your hard work. And a colleague texts in, Officer Shelton is a class act and a great officer to have in Lynchburg. Very cool, calm, and collected. So I
want to ask Captain Sexton you one more question. You mentioned the term informal leader.
Yes.
A couple of times. Explain what you mean by that, if you would.
So we have like formal leadership roles within the police department, be it sergeant, lieutenant, captain,
Right.
deputy chief. And then we have our informal leaders. It's those tone setters within our work groups that mentor our younger officers, that lead them in an informal way and can have just as big of impact on a daily basis to, one, the overall morale of our agency, and then the performance of our officers, our younger officers, and coaching them up and having them prepared on a daily basis.
And you said that you've gotten cooperation, say, from business owners in cases like this before. And in Lynchburg, famously, we have, going back several years, a number of shootings of people, whether they're murders, what have you, that have gone unsolved. Is it more difficult to get help from private citizens on those cases than maybe things that are more property kind of crimes or drug crimes or anything?
I think the steps that we can take, and I served in the role of our CID lieutenant during certain times, and I think we're always reaching out. We're always trying to find informal ways that our community can reach out to us if there is that fear of any type of retaliation. And so we're always trying to provide resources that our community can reach out to us and provide us with information.
When you were getting ready for the arrests, did they know you were on to them?
They did not. So one of the suspects actually left their hotel room walking a dog when we took them into custody, and one was not at the hotel. So when they showed back up to just come back, we were already there.
So it was kind of, I guess, as arrests go, it might have been a bit uneventful.
Very much so, yeah.
Well, that's the kind you
Which
want.
is what we want,
probably,
yeah. That's what we want.
I mean, it sounds like they were, well, they're drug dealers. I can disparage them. They're just kind of fat and happy and just figured, hey, we're just doing whatever the heck we want. I mean, were they just kind of, just taking it easy?
Yeah, seemingly so. Like they,
I mean, somebody who doesn't know that, it seems like if you're doing that, you're just always, looking around, looking over your shoulder. But I guess maybe not. I mean, I don't know, Mary. What would you do if you were a massive meth dealer? What would you be paranoid all the time?
Well, I'm not, so I don't really have to. I don't really have to think about that. That's why it's a hypothetical. Biscuit says, I know, but I don't know if you guys can talk about the overall drug problem in Lynchburg. What are you seeing? Is there one? We're just hearing about methamphetamine and.
Well,
what's the one? Not meth, but the fentanyl. Yeah, fentanyl and like, what are you seeing in the daily job, responsibilities of drugs in Lynchburg? How would you? This is probably going above and beyond what you were prepared to talk about, but I'm just curious because I've anecdotally just been hearing about. It's a real problem in Lynchburg, but one that the rest of us don't see as much. Does that make sense?
Well, I think there's a lot of resources we have at the department that work round the clock to combat that. Through our Special Investigations Division with our vice and our intel officers, down to Ray Shelton working a beat in combating drug crime within our community. And it's something that we also work with our intelligence-led policing, our stratified policing model, to identify different areas that we want to have a bigger impact on in the city based on intelligence. And it's something that we're always working to combat. And the bigger picture is that we can't do it by ourselves. We have to have these community members that reach out and may see something that we may not be aware of and can provide us with information. And with that information, now we can more effectively allocate our resources and be more effective.
About a question going along with that, how is Virginia's kind of legalization of marijuana, or cannabis as everyone calls it now, worked in that, where it's, I mean, you can possess it, but you can't buy or sell it. Does that change the strategy? I mean, obviously, if someone's got, a joint, you don't really much to do about it.
I don't think it changed the strategy. So like I said, I was a police officer in 2018 when marijuana was totally illegal, and now with it being legal or decriminalized. And our approach hasn't changed. I mean, we use the community members to identify the areas that we need to go do police work in, and we go there. And
well, we have you in our Heroes at Home segment, brought to you by the Comfort People at Terrell E. Mosley, because people reading comments here, and people appreciate the work you do dealing with this segment of society that most of us don't even have any interaction with or any really knowledge that it exists until you hear about. I was looking up Operation Gangrene from last year, which was a big bust by Lynchburg Police with gangs and drugs, and then Officer Shelton, what you're doing with allegedly meth making at a local hotel, and this kind of stuff is going on in the community, and you guys are out there seeing it and combating it every day, and we appreciate it. Anything I was going to say, what are you working on right now? But you probably can't tell us. Who are you going to arrest tomorrow?
We've got this massive secret investigation. Let me get all the details.
Who are you busting tomorrow? You can if you can give us the inside information. No, but Officer Ray Shelton and Captain Adam Sexton, thank you both so much.
Thank you very much for having us.
The work you're doing. Congratulations on being the Officer of the Month. Do you get like a front parking spot, or what do you?
Funny
get?
enough, yeah. Actually,
do you really?
Yeah.
Well, when you're there, I guess. So
yeah.
Congratulations, and keep up the great work, both of you. And we appreciate you being here.
Thanks.
Thank you.